Hello everyone and welcome back to Strife Solutions. I'm of course William Strife, and here I am standing on the top of the Solution Tower, looking fantastic this place. The view from up here is great. Anyways, I am playing YogCast Complete, or YogPack if you prefer. If you want to play along, you can go ahead and download it off of the AT launcher. There's a link in the description if you're interested. One of the big problems that I have had since I set this building up is the fact that I flat out do not have power, okay? What I had in the little shack was basically a setup like this with a couple of hydrogen generators and a reservoir, and you know, that worked perfectly fine for the tiny shack that I was in, but this is a huge facility. I'm going to need a whole lot more power. And when I say a lot of power, I mean tons of power. So not only am I going to have to put in a massive infrastructure to supply power to every single level, you know, which includes all of the elite energy cubes, which I've got one behind the machines over here. I'm going to need a lot of these elite energy cubes, and I'm going to have to make tons of these ultimate universal cables, but I've shown you guys how to do that already. I'm not going to bore you with that. What's more important, though, something that I haven't shown you guys, is how to generate a ridiculous amount of energy. So there's really only one way to feasibly go about doing that, and that's to build a frickin' reactor, which is the reason why this episode is called Nuclear Power. So to create a reactor, I'm going to use what is known as the Big Reactor mod. And to create the reactor that I want, I'm going to need 175 fuel rods, 522 reactor casings, 25 control rods, 6 power taps, 2 access ports, 1 reactor controller. There's a no in there. Anyways, 1 reactor controller, and I'm going to need to cool it with destabilized redstone, which is going to require that I build a magma crucible. Everything that I need otherwise, I already have the machines to create the items that I require to build the parts. So the only thing that I need to build to get the parts together is the magma crucible. So really quickly, what I'm going to explain is that this reactor is not going to be tiny. It is going to be quite large. It's going to be a 9 by 9 by 9 cube, so 9 cube square. So 9 block cubed area is going to be the reactor. And as you can see over here, I've been doing some planning and some testing. Basically, all of the cobblestone bits here, they represent where a fuel rod is going to go, and I was putting them down just to count the layout to be absolutely certain on my calculations, because I've been doing a lot of math in the background here to figure out how much of what I need. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to require, and I'll get to it all in this episode, but first off, I don't have any destabilized redstone, something which I am going to need a lot of, and to make destabilized redstone, I have to send redstone through a magma crucible, which is a thermal expansion machine that basically melts things down into liquid. So I need liquid redstone, or destabilized redstone, as thermal expansion calls it. So to create this, I'm going to need to make a machine frame, a reception coil, and a leadstone energy cell. So let's start with that. I need lead, glass, and a block of redstone, and I should have everything in my inventory to actually craft this without having to go into any of my chests. So go ahead and just shift-click there. Okay, there's a leadstone energy cell frame. I'm also going to need a machine frame, so let's shift-click that. It's just steel, gold, and some glass. And last but certainly not least, I'm also going to need a redstone reception coil. There we go. Okay, here we go. I should have everything. Shift-click. There we go. Magma crucible. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that there and put the drum on top of it. It's powered up because it's hooked into the power cables that I put below. And go ahead and just slap that in there. And let's see. There we go. That should be good. We'll clear all of these out. And it'll be, yeah, it'll destabilize the redstone, it'll pump it into this, and then because I've set the top port to output, it'll just pump it all straight into the destabilized redstone, into this drum. The other thing that I'm going to need a lot of to create this, actually, let's check these off the list. I've got the destabilized redstone and magma crucible off the list. Granted, I don't have all of the destabilized redstone yet, but it's in the works. Now I can get to work on creating everything else. So something else that I'm going to require, here we go, big reactors. There's more than one type of reactor that you can build, but I'm going to be creating what's known as a passive reactor because it works really well and it doesn't really cause any frame rate issues or lag out the server. So what I'm going to need a lot of is fuel, obviously. So fuel in the big reactor mod is this yellowite stuff. Okay, so I've come up to the second level where I have plenty of room, and I've been growing jungle trees outside, which seems to have gotten in here. You can't really see it, but I've got a farm down there, a tree farm, which I have been using my Mine Factory Reloaded machines. It's been automatically planting and reharvesting trees for the express purpose of creating charcoal. So I'm up here specifically to show you how exactly all of this stuff is crafted. Of everything that I require, the fuel rods, the reactor casings, the control rods, the power taps, the access ports, and the reactor controller, this stuff is made out of 3 primary ingredients. There are extra things that I have to craft, but it's iron, graphite, and yellowrum. Now, yellowrum, you know, like you saw, I've been mining a whole lot of this stuff up with the digital miner, and it's just made by smelting up your yellowite ore, but you can also grind it up in a pulverizer to create 2 yellowrum dust, and obviously one dust equals 1 ingot, so double my yellowrum like that. So the reactor casings, you get 4 of them for graphite, iron, and yellowrum like so. The graphite is just re-smelted coal or charcoal, which is why I've got the tree farm outside. So that's how I'm getting my hands on all of the graphite required to craft just this astronomical sum of reactor casings, which, as you can see, I have already started work on here. The reactor controller is composed of a diamond, 2 yellowrum ingots, 4 reactor casings and a redstone, the reactor access ports, more casings, a piston, and a chest, because this is basically the port where you can eject waste from and you can put fuel into. And then of course there's also the power tap, which is just a bunch of casings plus redstone. This is where you connect your cables to get the power out of the reactor. And of course there's the control rod, which has to be put, well actually the control rod is put on top of these fuel rods, which is iron, graphite, and yellowrum, and of course the reactor control rod, which is casings, graphite, redstone, and yellowrum ingots. So I mean, I've got a lot of crafting to do off screen, and I don't want this episode to be too excessively long. So I'm going to show you the real basics of how these things go together here with, that should not be there. Going to go ahead and put down a bunch of these casings. The basic rules of how this works is that you want the entire reactor, you want the edges to be made out of these casings. Now, the center can be made out of, the center has to be hollow. You know, well, typically there's supposed to be hollow space in the middle of it, but the center has to have a fuel rod inside. Then on top of the fuel rod, you have to put a reactor control rod. And then you can also, you can fill in the sides with whatever you want to fill in. All that you have to use the reactor casing for is the edges of it. You know, the columns and the borders on the top and bottom. So to make this reactor work, you have to have a access port, you have to have a power tap, and you have to have a reactor control panel. Now that is absolutely everything that that is necessary to get one of these things working. And, you know, as the thing gets bigger, it's also possible to create this reactor glass so you can see inside, which is just a casing flanked by glass. So I'll go ahead and put that in the last slot right there. And here you can see that its texture has changed because this is a multi-block structure. Now it has actually become a functional reactor. If I just right-click this, I get the interface. And I'll try to explain this whenever I'm downstairs and I've actually got the real reactor online. But that's the basics. That's the real simple and straight basics of how this reactor works. Now, naturally, as it is called the big reactor mod, this setup can get much larger as what I'm going to do downstairs, but that's the basics of how it works. And because I've got so much crafting to make all these components, I'm going to skip all of that for you guys, and I'm going to jump downstairs once I have all of these components crafted, because there's just a lot of gathering of resources that I still have left to do. I don't have enough charcoal to finish making all of the casings that I require and whatnot, so I'll see you guys downstairs whenever I have all of the resources together. Okay, everyone, it has been hours, and I have completed the reactor chamber down below, if you can see. it's looking pretty nifty here. I used the chisel mod to create this futuristic armor plating, which is just a iron ingot surrounded by some smooth stone. I also used marble from the chisel mod to create the panels on the side. And these fancy blocks of redstone are also from chisels. You just run it straight through the chisel mod, and it's one of the things over here, I believe. Now, my allergies have begun to flare up since I last recorded a couple of hours ago, so just excuse me while I am all stuffed up. So I've got this cardboard box with all of the materials inside of it that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and I'm going to take out a bunch of reactor casings, which I'm going to need to create the frame. So this is how it works. Luckily, I am going to be able to use my my builder's wand here to build the shape of the reactor without having to mess with anything too much. But the bottom line is that all of the inside here, now granted this is taller than how tall the reactor is due to be, but the way that it works is that the whole bottom needs to be reactor casings, this whole wall, that whole wall, that whole wall. The only things that aren't going to be reactor casings are the very front, because that's going to be made out of reactor glass, which I have in here. And the top is going to have to be something special, because that's where the control rods go in for the actual fuel rods to work. So I'm going to go ahead and build this up, and we'll see it whenever I'm done. Okay, there we go. So this is the primary frame of the reactor. I'm going to go ahead and add in some of the accents that I intend to use. And for that matter, the way that this is, the way I want it to be built is to be kind of a frame around everything. At the very minimum, the outer edge of the reactor has to be made out of these casings. So the inside of the walls can be completely made out of reactor glass, but the edges and the corners have to be made out of the reactor casings at the very, very minimum. So that is how it works. So just fill that in there and there. There we go. Now I've got a barrel of destabilized redstone here that I'm going to have to make use of. And let me grab my bucket while I am at it. And next up, I'm going to need these fuel rods. That should be everything that I need. And I'll take the reactor glass out as well, just to be safe. Ooh, and the control rods are also something that I'm going to need. So, I have 25 control rods, because there are going to be 25 control rods in the middle of the reactor altogether. If I'm not mistaken, this is the layout that I use. Yeah, so this is the reactor layout. I definitely counted it right, because I just double checked. So the way that this is laid out is like so. It's just in a checkerboard pattern. One on, one off, one on, one off, one on, one off. So that's how it's designed. Now, this is where things are going to start getting a little bit tedious for me to perform. What I need to do is dump destabilized redstone into this one at a time, and unless anything changed, I'm about to find out, yeah, it doesn't set you on fire or anything, so there's nothing to really worry about. Just go ahead and keep dumping destabilized redstone in between these fuel rods. There are more effective forms of coolant that can be placed inside of these reactors, but redstone is pretty good. It's really high up there, and it's very cheap at the same time. So this is what I have to do on each level, and then whenever I get up to the next level, I have to do that to all of them, and then fill in again. So I'm going to be doing this across this level, and then all of the levels until I reach that block right up there, at which point I'll get back to you. Okay guys, so I have just finished filling in all of the spaces between the fuel rods, and check this out. I've got 4 buckets of redstone to spare. I really went through the stuff. I'm lucky that I turned out to have enough. Almost didn't. So with this done, the next step is to cover over the fuel rods with the reactor control rods, like so. And then I need to fill the gaps in between with more casings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put torches around the walls here, and then wall up the front, so that you don't get this big ugly gap right over the reactor. But I need this space up here in the event that I need to come up here and do something, or any sort of maintenance. I believe I can leave this to 0, or just basically not mess with this, and it'll function up to its maximum capacity. If not, I am completely wrong, and I will find out very, very quickly. Okay, there we go. I'm all done up here. Now, there is a distinct problem. Because this is a multi-block structure, it should have snap to, and all of these reactor casings should have connected their textures. In other words, whenever there's one block right next to another, you won't get the borders between them. So that is a sign that it didn't work. Now, there's a distinct reason why it didn't work. It's because I didn't put access ports, power taps, or a controller. The controller most importantly. But these are the things that you have to have on your reactor to get it to work. So first off, I'm going to put the controller port right here. I'm going to get some redstone flowing out for a minute there. Then on either side, I want to put taps, or ports. And then, there you go. You see, it's changed its texture. This means that the reactor is complete and it's together. If I right-click here, you can see I've got the interface, and there's a lot of stuff that I could cover for this, but the sufficient truth is that this is how much energy it's putting out, this is how much power, this is how much fuel it is consuming per tick, and this is its temperature. Usually the higher the temperature, the better, and this is its efficiency. 100% efficiency means that you're getting the an equal bang for your buck for everything that you're putting in. Below, you don't want anything below 100%. Preferably, you want something higher than 100%, because I believe you can get, up to like 200 or 300% if your reactor temperature is higher. Keeping in mind that this will not overheat and melt down. So with that done, the next thing that I want to do is put a couple of power taps in. Right there. And right there. But that's not all. I also want to fly up to the top here and put in some power taps, because I'm going to need some of these power, because I'm going to need power cables to go up into the main towers, so it's going to be easier to tap power from the top of a reactor rather than from the sides. So, okay, there we go. So those are my power taps. They're in place and they're ready to go. Now, this next part, I'm going to do it to demonstrate just how powerful this reactor alone is. Now, I've got this energy cube that I built. It's an ultimate energy cube, maximum capacity that you can get your hands on in the game. So this is completely empty. I'm going to go ahead and just slap it right on top of one of the energy taps, and I'm going to set this access port where waste or fuel goes in, and I'm going to set it to output mode. So this is where the waste is going to get kicked out to whenever it uses up the yellowrum ingots here, which I'm going to need basically all of these, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this block of yellowrums into ingots as well. Whenever the yellowrum is used up by the reactor, it is going to kick out a plutonium ingot, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, no, not plutonium. Plutonium is an alternative form of fuel. What it's going to kick out is cyanite, which is basically a spent form of fuel, and cyanite can be re-refined into plutonium. But I don't know if I'm ever going to actually do that. I'm going to go ahead and pop that in there, and it's just going to eat up the entire stack, and it's going to eat up a lot of the stacks that I stuff in here for a while. And actually, it's eaten up everything that I've got. I don't know if I have... Yeah, I'm not even full, so I'm going to have to hop back upstairs and grab the remainder of the yellowrum that I have on hand to get this thing working the rest of the way. Okay, I've got the rest of the yellowrum. It's a ridiculous amount that I've got here. Hopefully it's enough to finish fueling this baby up. Okay, there we go. It's full now. That has exhausted all of my yellowrum. I've got 2 stacks and... Oh my god, I have just over 2 stacks to spare of everything. Like, the area around this base is completely void of yellowrum at this point. So, like I said, empty ultimate energy cube. This thing holds the absolute most, and it's going to take me around 30 to 45 minutes to fill this up with my hydrogen generators. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to power this baby on. And we're going to see how much... Look at this. 34, 36, 37, 38. It's going to keep rising, but this is in kiloflux. This is in red flux per tick. Okay? So look at how fast this thing is charging up. This is generating a ridiculous amount of energy. I can actually I have in creative mode on a single player world tested this out, and I found out that I can take these ultimate energy cubes, surround the entire bottom of the reactor in them, just like a big ring surrounding the entire thing. So, 9 on this side, 9 on that side, 9 on that side, 9 on each side, and then of course an extra 1 in the corner. And it takes in the ballpark of 15 minutes to fill up all of the energy cubes. And look at that. Look at this. It's pretty much done. And I've barely used up any fuel. It's barely been on, and it's functioning at 450% capacity efficiency. So this is what is going to supply power to the entirety of the solution tower. And moreover, once I get, it is possible to teleport energy around the map using certain types of energy. I'm either going to use tesseracts from red thermal expansion or something else, but it's possible to literally teleport the energy that comes out of this thing to wherever I want it in the world, which is going to fuel the digital miner whenever I start using it in various exotic locations. So there you go. This thing is full, and the internal battery is full, so I need to shut it off. And as you can see, the case heating and the core heat, they're both dropping like rocks. But that's my reactor, guys. I have a little bit of cleaning to do here, because it's looking a little bit ugly. I also need to put cabling in to get the power up to the rest of the building, but with this, I am ready to basically go anywhere and do anything with any tech mod that I want to mess with, because this is going to generate more than enough power for me to mine out additional energy to keep it running, and just power anything in the building, power the entire building quite easily and efficiently. So that's everything from me, guys. I am, of course, William Strife of Strife Solutions here on the Yogscast server playing YogPack or Yogscast Complete. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and check out the pack if you want to try to build this on your own. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye!